Calling this meeting for the special call board meeting for the Weldon Board of Education to order at 5:30. At this time, you seen the agenda. Can I have a motion for the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
It's been motion second. Motion by Ms. Taylor, second by Ms. Harrison, that the agenda be approved. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, first item on the agenda is the 23-24 budget. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Edwards at this time.
Thank you, Board Chair Williams, fellow board members, Vice Chair Ms. Hale. And coming to the beginning of this, this is our budget for the 23-24 school year. And we're looking at, first off, the capital outlay fund 4. I spoke with Mr. Futrell as well as Ms. Campbell here. And one item that we do have on the budget, the purchase of the vehicle. That item from information from Mr. Futrell is not pertinent right now at this time. So that's a cost that the budget does not have to incur immediately. Okay. But across the board, the budget does look like it's in some dire straits of concern. We are looking at appropriations for the capital outlay of approximately $389,047 from this year's appropriation, and with a total revenues that we are trying to achieve the $790,000. But with those numbers, we're looking at about a $400,000, a little more than $400,000 shortfall in revenues.
Okay,
We're looking at a what shortfall?
We're looking at the county appropriations, and those appropriations are approximately $389,047.
He didn't print you copies of the
Okay.
actual,
I was gonna say,
the
I
actual
wanna see
revenue.
where you're talking about.
With that, we, after the meeting last week, we got with Mr. Futrell, and we put in the metal detectors. We put in the security cameras for central office and the elementary schools. We put in the modernization upgrade for the finance department. We put in funds for technology, software, and all of that comes to $790,000. Based on the revenues that has been received this school year, the district has only received $337,997.47 as of today. I think Mr. Edwards say, as far as sales tax are concerned, and what he listed was just $152,000 in sales tax that he's already received to date. But there's still March through June that needs to come in, and you're not sure what those revenues are. So basically, looking at all the budgets, they're gonna have to, he's gonna need some input from the board on cutting some items. This school year, you're using $268,696 fund balance, the balance that you use to balance this year's budget. And because the audit report for last school year has not been completed, you really don't know what your true fund balance is as of June 3rd of 2022.
I have a question. You mentioned central office and Weldon Elementary. What about the middle school?
I thought that's what you said, central office and elementary school.
Middle. And middle, yes, both, both.
Okay, I only had two. I had the elementary and central office.
Yes.
And that's for metal detectors?
No,
No.
for the security
Security
cameras.
cameras. Okay, so the high school, we're Okay, then.
Yeah, with the metal detector, right now, based on the figures that we received from Mr. Future, it was $250,000 for 4 metal detectors as of right now.
Six.
Six,
Six.
okay.
You got 6 entrances among 4 sites.
We don't need them for what's four sites, are you talking about?
So it's 2 sites at Weldon Elementary, two entrances at Weldon Elementary School, the main entrance and the bus entrance. Middle school has 2 entrances, that's the front entrance, as well as the back bus entrance. The high school would have 1 entrance, but it will be mobile enough where once we combine sites, you will be able to use that for gym entrances. And then at the middle high school, and then RVET would have 1 entrance, so that's your 6 that we're calculating. And, yeah.
So one per high school, and then 2 per elementary and middle.
Yes, based on, and that's really just based on the design of the school and how students let in, because at the high school currently, your front entrance also unloads, is where your buses unload. So you have 1 entrance for both visitors and students at the high school.
And will they be mobile?
They will be mobile.
All of them.
All of them?
Yes, they are, they will be mobile.
Okay, 'cause we will need them for big basketball games.
Right,
To all,
absolutely. So the goal is that once in December, or whenever we make the whenever that transition happens, you'll be able to move that 1 that we purchased for the for the high school over to the gym of the middle school. So that,
okay,
and then that way you have the 3 essentially on that site. We just don't want to purchase 1 right. We think we can get through with just wanting and things like that for the metal detectors. And of course, you know, there are different levels to metal detection.
right.
We're looking at some, the ones I've shown you, who we evolved last month in the board packet. You know, it's very high end, it's screener based, using artificial intelligence to detect potential weapons. And it's non-invasive, which you mean it just feels like school. You come in. That's what we're looking at, and it's of course a little more costly, but much more costly. Let's put it out there. It's much more costly than similar systems like Garrett detection, where you know it's your typical what you have now when you go to a basketball game at the high school, right? You walk in, everything got to be emptied out. You got to clear your book bag. Somebody has to wand you in still. And the issue with that in a school is that, well, after you let everybody in, you got schools are running all day. You got people coming in throughout the day, visitors. So that requires somebody has to do that if you want a clean 100% detection throughout the day versus that screening system. You got a tablet here at the front desk and it scans people throughout all day. Some of the counties that are currently using it, you know, it's already found parents who've come in with weapons.
I'm sure they have.
You know, so just something to think about, what it's gonna cost, and it's continuous, it is a renewal with it. I did speak with sent Dr. Robinson an email earlier today with the quote for it, just to see if this is something that could come out of ESSER for at least the next 4 years, because it is an ongoing cost, and we could be invoiced up front, having known that ESSER will end, we could go and be invoiced for 4 years. And at least through 26-27 school year, we would have that system in place.
Right.
But of course, if that is not approved through ESSER, then we will at least look at that 250,000 budget for next year for.
So what did she find out? She hasn't found out yet.
She's gonna reach out to her regional director to just determine if it's feasible, because it's very costly for 6. That's with the hookup, especially with the launch this year, the initial year and the trainings and things that come along with it. Came up to like $760,000 for 4 years, over the course of 4 years, for those 6.
Does that include like upgrades and all of the four?
Yes, because it's software based, so it automatically updates with the most recent artificial intelligence to look for items that could be potential weapons.
The majority of the students at the elementary school, how do they ride the bus, correct?
Yes.
They are not brought in by the parents,
Some drop off.
but it's more from the buses.
Yes.
So it wouldn't be one at the main entrance?
Yes, it
Or would it be one at the
would
bus
be
drop
one at
off?
both.
So what about I thought now we have
Cafeteria.
the cafeteria area, well,
Is
I
that a-
passed by today, where the canopy is back further by the auditorium. Now, who comes in there? Because that's why we have that
I
covered.
think they enter through the media center. The kids that
The
are,
side entrance.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Not the cafeteria anymore.
Mm-mm. No, I think they enter through the media center.
So we have three
Like canopy.
entrances
Right.
at the elementary school.
Yeah, so hopefully what would need to happen is at some point, we could add another one, or it's mobile, you can move it to the front as for regular daily entrance.
But right now, only students come through there at the drop off. No parents, they stay in the
They
car
stay in the
and they just, yeah, I know, I'm saying, but right now, that's what it is. The kids just come through there.
Right.
Okay.
In the morning, the kids go through the cafeteria. In the afternoon, they exit through the library.
And they exit through the library.
Oh, so we can move it,
You can move it,
It's mobile.
like for the afternoon and for the morning.
right,
But see, at the same time, you still have parents that drop the kids off in the front.
In the front.
that
right.
You would need it at that front.
Right.
entry.
Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, that's a school level thing that can, this is where the students come
It
in.
can be a
everybody-
jagged drop off too.
Yeah.
I
It
think
can
we
be a
can do that.
time scheduling, it could be scheduled when certain students are able to come in.
I think it could be managed,
It could be
even like you
managed.
said, if we move to,
Yes.
all drop-offs happen on
In the front.
In
the
the front.
front or
Yeah.
side, you know.
Absolutely.
She'll send a thing out about all the drop-offs, come through the side entrance in the
Okay.
parking lot. It's not supposed to be anyone according to what she sent out
It's safe on the
from,
side.
from the street, right, across to the school.
Yeah,
Kids running out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we used to do it like that, and that wasn't safe, so they changed it to come through the cafeteria.
Yeah. So that, I mean, that's a school level thing.
Right. Are there any grants that are available for safety?
of course, you know, we got the school safety.
Right, I remember that one, but there
That's
should be
the
some other ones
training
coming,
ground.
coming out with all the
Um,
gun violence in schools right now.
Yeah, I believe Dr. Robinson shared something with me a few weeks back. It was tight timeline on it. But I was still in, I
Has it
don't know
passed?
all of it. I'm not sure if it's passed.
I'll look at it.
Okay.
So, moving forward, with the information that we have, and the additions to, our budget from what we just discussed, we're still looking at, even more of a shortfall, and also understanding that the fund balance, because we don't have a current hold on what that particular, number will be, we're holding off on applying anything like that to this particular budget. And just with, like I said, the information that we currently have, we're still looking at substantial amount of shortfall, possibly now closer to 450 of a shortfall that we may be looking at now, because those items, as Mr. Futrell said, do have a extensive cost attached to them. So with that information, like I said, we're looking at current appropriations, interest earned on investments, which is minimal, and then tax revenue that we received up until now. And that's how we come up with our current estimate for our capital outlay revenue. And then we understand what our total revenues are budgeted. And then we, like I said, we do have that shortfall that we are seeing ourselves facing.
So I can ask the board, and I know it will be tedious, Mr. Williams, if you can look at each one of those line items and see, if it's something in those line items that can be reduced.
Yeah.
For an example, where we know we can't reduce the metal detectors, you can't reduce the module lease because you said that's 125,000,
That in initial year.
right?
I have a question about that. If we change the time that students transition from the high school to the middle school, would that put it in the other year, put it in, the following year's budget? And that would help us a little bit on.
I was gonna ask about that also, but I was gonna bring it up at our board.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the
That
budget,
would-
we need that would help with this budget right here, right?
Yes, and it could
Would that
reduce-
help? Ms. Campbell?
Yes,
So it would help them, it would take the whole entire 125 away though. What is the 125 for, from what time frame to what?
That's for a 12-month lease,
For
right?
12
So from January to January, right?
So, but if, I'm sorry, if we get it like in June,
Right.
July. So that will take us from July, but so they'll be in the next fiscal year
Right.
instead of this. one.
Right.
Right.
So, and this right here is 125 for this fiscal year, thinking it going into schools
Yes.
in January.
Yeah, and it has about an extra $25,000 attachment in the first year just because you're paying for setup and connections and things like that.
That's one thing.
So the 125 is for fiscal year or calendar year?
Calendar year.
Okay.
Because their company's gonna operate off the calendar
so
year.
if that's the case, then if it's calendar year, you won't need the whole 125 because you'll be just paying from January to June.
Mhm. Yeah, that is true.
Right.
Yeah, that is true.
So can you find out,
Yeah. I can
to find
do
out
that.
what it would be from January to June?
Yes, and I can pretty much, it'd probably be minus and I found out for sure, it'll be minus 25, and then divide that 100,000 by 2, so it'll be.
So about
75,000.
75,000.
Rough, but I'll find out for sure.
That's better than 125.
But if we change it to, what's the date? August of instead of doing January, they're not demolishing the high school until July.
Yeah.
So if we change it to August and let them to start new year off, going to the middle school, that would take it out that would take the whole 125 out, right?
Yeah.
And it'll be 125 for the next. budget.
Right,
It would save you 8 months of leasing.
exactly,
Over the life of the
exactly,
lease.
exactly. I think that would be our best, and this need to, Mr. Chairman, make sure we put it on our, open session for next week to move that day, and that will save us $125,000.
And it won't affect the construction of anything?
Mm-mm.
No, because they're not going to start demolishing until July
Okay.
of 2024.
Okay.
So it takes a whole year off out of. How much we got, how much more we need?
Yeah.
A whole lot.
The security
A
cameras,
little bit more than that.
Okay.
the security cameras, I'll also be requesting that through ESSER as well. But I think the security cameras would possibly fit into the school safety grant budget. We're kind of trying to hold on to that 85,000 that we got roughly now in
Right.
school safety.
Mhm.
And in talking with the vendor that we walked around with the elementary middle school, I think we're gonna come close to that, but of course, you just never know. One thing about ESSER, we might not be able to use ESSER monies for the cameras simply because of the most reasonable vendor. I know this gonna sound wild, but the most reasonable vendor's products comes from China. And right now, the federal government is not allowed to procure items from this vendor when it comes to security
Got you.
because of espionage and all that. I was surprised to really
Wow.
hear that. And he said that the equipment that we can purchase with federal dollars is about 40% higher,
Really?
more expensive.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
That's
so
convenient.
so if you use local monies to purchase the equipment, it'll be about 40% cheaper because you won't have to go through uniform guidance with federal
Right.
purchasing.
Oh, that's interesting. But how does it compare in?
Oh, it's the same quality.
Okay.
The cheaper one from China is gonna be just as good quality. But just because it's first in China and it's security equipment, United States government will not allow us the dollars to purchase.
Wow. Wow.
The Department of Defense.
How much
Act.
more we need to get?
If my calculation right, using my phone, it's 240,953 more you need to cut.
953. What is the, equipment, it was $100,000. Yeah,
It's 60,000, right? Well, we got 100,000 for computer software, and I was gonna ask Ms. Gutman, what does she think? Could that be trimmed along with the non-capitalized equipment? Can that be cut?
That's what we know, non-capitalized.
So what are you thinking? Because I know they was asking you about the Chromebooks for both high schools.
in which our order is from using ESSA funds. We okay with the middle school because we have some set aside for the middle school. As far as the software, you said 100,000.
Sorry, there was a problem with the app.
And based on as of yesterday, when we worked on this, you had spent 96,000 for software, but that's including other softwares like,
Get on the bus.
Down the bus, another day.
and when I was here, I can remember it was software for like the, school funds, the different, all the different types of software, school funds, Serenic, the spreadsheets, it's all not just Ms. Gutman's software, it's other softwares too.
How much is it, is Get on the Bus or Here Come the Bus including this?
Was that coming out of the transportation budget, Mr. Trail?
I know the initial, application was purchased out of transportation.
Okay, and yeah, that was the $20,000, right?
Probably more than that.
Yeah.
So it might, when we went back, I think we did have to go to. Okay. But to get the software to run it, has that been purchased out of transportation too, or is that in this budget?
I really don't know.
Talking about the licenses, I think.
Oh,
Remember the license?
Oh, yeah,
that we
yeah.
had purchased?
yes,
Okay.
that's already been purchased.
Okay, so this is, MacBooks and, Chromebooks,
Mhm.
Laptops.
The 60,000.
the 60,000.
The 100,000 is probably renewals of different varieties of
Mhm.
softwares like your Adobe, the Microsoft,
Yeah.
Zoom, the school funds.
What about the non-capitalized, what's the non-capitalized equipment?
The non-capitalized equipment is the MacBook Zoom, the 60,000, the 75,000 is what Mr. Edwards said that they were gonna need for the conversion for the modernization system.
Okay, so we can't
We
touch
need
that.
that.
Mhm.
And the purchase of vehicles.
We deleted that one. We deleted the 35,000. I think you're saying we deleted the 125,000.
Right.
So that brought us down to the 240,953 that's needed to balance it.
No, we,
What is
Because we were short. Well, we can go back. No, I'm sorry.
I still see 35 up there for the vehicle.
That's all right. So we're deducting the 125,000, deducting the 35,000.
Okay,
That's bringing the budget to 630,000 now.
okay.
And we have revenue right now, $389,047, which is still a difference of 240,953. Based on the sales tax he's getting, he's averaging about $12,000. So if you got March, April, and June, what's that, 3 months? That one would be 200 and some thousand.
So,
That's only like about $38,000 more sales tax you gonna get.
if we only purchase one metal detector set per school and let the schools do an in-house dealing with that until we can get into the next budget cycle, how much does that take off that $250,000? What's the furniture?
You we just have those two in together
Okay.
for equipment using
Okay.
that 541 piece.
Okay,
Because you use an 077 PRC that's mostly focused directly on the schools.
okay.
You may be able to miss that, future cut that building maintenance down 50,000 and you make them cut that down to make it 20,000.
Yeah,
We've
because
done
we
a lot
are,
of maintenance already.
what's that?
We've already done a lot of maintenance under ESSER.
Yes,
Past few years.
as I think about it, so one of the things we gotta consider if we stay in the high school all year is you know, we do spend a lot of contracted service to keep them cool and warm.
Gotcha.
That is something to consider as I think now about maintenance. If you stay all year, then,
But it's gonna be $125,000?
oh, no.
And can some of those
You'll still
things-
save.
Can some of those things that maintenance have to do be done by our person
Yeah.
that we have hired
Yeah,
so
he
that we
keeps
won't
it-
have to contract?
He does keep it going as much as he can, with what, you know, he can do, yeah.
So and I want everybody to have a raise, but we know the situation with our money. Is it possible, how can we look at removing that from the budget right now until we know that we're getting our money back and then put that, then.
We don't pay any salary out of capital. We hadn't got to the piece with this.
Right.
That's a major issue there.
Okay.
That's gonna be a major issue.
And
That's why we chose this one first.
Right.
Because it's easier.
That wasn't in here, but like I said, I want everybody to get a raise, but we also know what we're dealing with.
Right.
Too, so.
Did you say maintenance, we can cut maintenance? Did you?
We could, because see, up top, Mr. Futrell, you got 50,000 there, then down at the bottom, there's another 30,000. So if we cut the first maintenance to 20,000 and then leave the 30 in the other, that's a total of 50,000 that can be used within the whole district.
Well, I see another 20,000 up there too now. I see
That's
that
just
too.
general supplies. You can actually cut that to 10 if you want to.
And we could put it back
If
if we get it.
if you need it, yes.
Right,
If the funds is available, yes.
okay, so we could do 10 with the 20. We could do 25 with the 50. And
25, Dr. Ms. K. Robinson.
the fit maintenance.
The 51, we're changing that to 20, yes.
To 20, not 25, okay,
Right.
20, okay. And then the 30
Leaving that as is.
as is, okay. Now how
Because
much
that
money?
would take care of the whole district.
Gotcha,
So you got 630.
okay.
Minus 30,000. Minus 10,000. That brings you down to 590,000.
Oh, you see this much up there.
And then you got revenue 389,047. That's 200. You need 200,953.
Ms. Gutson,
Yes.
with this $100,000, could we check with the high schools and see what needs to be replaced? If they, because I know every year you don't need to replace them all.
Right.
Some of them maybe have something wrong with them and need to be replaced, but some of them just need to be just wiped down and plugged in. Can we go into that 100,000 and do something with that?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm serious. I'm just telling me how.
Yeah.
And I want all our kids to have a working computer, but that we don't have to buy all of them.
Well, computers is only 60,000, Ms. K. Robinson. That 100,000 is all the software throughout the district.
Okay, we need that. Okay, so the software, okay, 60.
Do our schools have laptop cards?
At what?
Laptop cards.
Mm-hmm.
They all each school.
Okay.
Mhm.
The high school,
They did it, high school.
Yeah, they go to school.
do they have it in the middle and the elementary too?
Yeah.
We talking about the cards.
Mhm.
The charging cards.
Okay, yeah, that's what I use when I was working. And we had to share ours. So we have a one-to-one program at every school right now.
Right.
So do you have any idea of how many they need to be replaced?
No, I can let you know.
I think this is the same.
Because I know, right, many of them will be prepared this summer.
Okay,
So we do have parts coming in for that.
okay,
Through the CTE program.
okay. That should take care of that.
So we
So,
have,
Oh, okay.
purchase iPads for the students as well.
iPad.
So if they're not able to get a Chromebook, of course, they can use the iPad, bring the iPad.
Okay, great.
And that's
So-
for, mostly for the high school, and then, the elementary school have funds in their 105 to purchase those for the elementary. So I think we're good with purchasing of equipment. So maybe we can take off some for upgrade.
Right.
Okay.
Because I'll be purchasing some, well, you know, I have a plan to purchase some out of ESSA funds.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh,
So,
so,
so we can take, well, how much of that 60 can we have?
no.
How much of that 60?
You heard, that's okay. I won't go away. She's telling me what I tell you all.
Yeah, that 60,000,
30.
because they already purchased one. They already purchased equipment.
And Robinson.
Yes, ma'am.
Have.
Half of them, okay, we got 15, we got 30 more.
I'm getting there.
All
I
right.
need some tape.
So, so
Ms.
we,
Campbell,
all of our kids have laptops that they can take home. Chromebooks. So let me check, because I know there's a grant out there where students have the option to have either a laptop, a desktop, or a cell phone, and it's free.
Okay.
So let me check into that. And I'll let you know.
That's
So-
elementary school.
Really?
But I know that I'm following you. For the first line item, we deducted that to 20,000.
Yes.
Okay, so that's- Then we took away the 125,000, right?
But yes, no, you go, 20, we took 10, we took half of that
Okay.
20 first.
Okay,
And we didn't bother this metal detectors at all yet.
okay, so we
Okay.
took the 50,000, we reduced to 20, so I deduct that by 30. Then we took 10,000. Then we took the
125 classroom modular lease.
okay, we're taking that completely out,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Then we deducted the vehicles out,
35,
okay?
and then we took 30
From
from
the
equipment.
non-capital, okay, so change that to 30,000. So that put us at $560,000.
$560,000. Now,
But-
what about, as I mentioned earlier, the security cameras at because you didn't have it included in this.
According to Mr. Petrillo, the central office is good, am I correct?
I mean, it's, we've done some upgrades
Yeah.
Since they
To the
broke
back?
into the,
not since the last time they broke into it, that was, we've improved the lighting. Since the last time, but the first time when we had a breach, we got some more cameras. And then the last time we added additional light.
so we can use the funding that we're gonna use here to replace the security, down at the middle school, that'll be middle end, so we
Right.
leave it alone.
Yeah, I really think that school safety grant will cover the elementary and middle school.
So that will cover the light, I mean, not the, well, the lighting as well, because that's something we talked about. But the cameras, the security cameras on the back of the elementary school, with this grant, we should be able to get those things from,
Yes, we did a walkthrough. I think there were 13 additional cameras that they could use at Wareco, including the playground, the back, street.
But we need cameras inside the middle school.
And we
Okay.
walked, there'll be some additional cameras inside the elementary school and additional cameras inside the middle school, mainly knowing that we're gonna be bringing
The high school.
High
middle
school
schools
there,
and high
right.
schools together, so we asked that that be considered. As well as knowing that once we do get the modular unit, we're gonna need some cameras there just because you got people going in and out of the building, so.
Well, are they using that hallway right now at the middle school?
Which hallway, they using all of them.
They're using all of them right now. Okay,
Everything's being used.
okay.
So with that, then, we're not gonna mess with that. Okay.
Mm-mm.
No.
He said if it's coming out of school safety grant, we can.
So you can take 60,000 from it? We got 60,000 or what, 80,000?
We got like 85,000 in.
How much we got down for the camera?
80,000.
So that's it.
We can take 80?
We can take 80 out then. If you think it's
I
gonna
really think we're gonna be able to do with
be. He
80.
said,
So I can
okay.
delete the
We can take the
80,000.
80 out.
Can you leave a little bit in there?
She doesn't sound confident.
20,000 in there.
I don't think you should take the whole 80.
Yeah, maybe, can you leave 35 in there?
Okay,
Yeah, there's something in there, don't take the whole thing.
so how much we taking out?
So we're taking out 45,000.
Right, yeah, let's leave something in there.
Okay. We're gonna try to look for another grant, but this one due tomorrow, I'm good, right?
The first part of it,
Oh, yeah.
It's due tomorrow.
just the first
Just the
part.
first part?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
the
just,
second part is the 17.
that's next week. Okay. I'm gonna look at it. Have you started on?
No, man.
Okay.
It was just, when I got it, I was like, ain't no.
Okay, okay, I'm gonna look at it.
What's that?
It's a safety grant. It's a safety right here.
But we already have it in that.
We do have
Okay.
How much is this?
I think it's 17 million overall that's been awarded.
I'm gonna look at this tonight.
But that's national.
I know, but I'm gonna look at it tonight. Okay, let me get the first part in. We'll try to get the first part. And you just tweak it.
73 million, I'm sorry, nationally been awarded.
Really? Okay, that would be a four. Where we at numbers count?
515, and we have $389,047. That brings you to $125,953.
That we need
I feel comfortable
with that number.
pending the final audit that you can use 125,000. What's your fund balance? Capital outlay. I'm sorry. So if you use $125,953 in fund balance, bring all of them, all three of them,
Give me that number one more time, Ms. Tam.
125,953.
125.
953.
Thank you. I'm hearing a little.
So I'm thinking it will be 515,000 will be the budget,
Mhm.
and the county appropriation is $236,047.
Right,
Estimating $1,000 for your interest,
okay.
estimating you're still gonna get 152,000 for sales tax next school year.
Mhm.
And then using the 125,950 fund balance.
Got you. Okay. That's better than what we started with.
Yes, ma'am, a whole lot better.
All right. Okay.
So that'll give you a budget of 515,000 for capital outlay.
Gotcha. 515.
Mhm. That's one down.
Which one is it?
Probably fund 8.
8.
Mhm. And Ms. K. Robinson, you asked me last week, was I gonna change, we gonna change any of the figures from the proposed budget to this budget? And I told you no.
Right.
Some areas I may have decreased it a little bit, but I tried to stay the same because I want to be transparency so you can see
Okay.
what the numbers actually look like.
Okay, can you tell me what you changed? So I,
Probably not.
okay. I'll figure it out.
Probably not. But right now, Fund 8 is short $579,157.06.
Give me
What
the
is
number
it?
one more time.
$579,157.06.
Okay.
Looking at the revenue that makes up that particular budget, as I was sharing with Dr. Carpenter and Mr. Edwards,
Mhm.
is the low, keeping it at 20,000. And of course, the sales tax again, leaving it at 180,000.
Where you read that from?
I'm looking at it on the revenue sheet. I did not make that copy, I'm sorry.
Okay, I didn't bring.
I was
mine.
rushing making that copy.
Okay, I didn't bring mine. Could you
Interest
get
is still low, so I left that at like $2,100.
mine? Okay.
The only area that I see that has not been done this whole school year is indirect costs. And as I shared with Dr. Carpenter, I'm planning to try to meet with Dr. Robinson
Okay.
tomorrow
Mhm.
to find out why the federal programs do not have indirect costs in there.
They're supposed to.
Right.
Yeah, all of them.
And once we look at all of those budgets, looking at all her budgets and all the federal programs, put indirect costs in, I will work with Mr. Edwards on how to build indirect costs. So that will give some more money, but I don't know if it's gonna be 579,000, I don't know.
It probably won't be.
Then miscellaneous revenues is down. Dr. Robinson has not heard anything on impact aid. So we can go over what's in Fund 8 and let you look at it and see what you think, but mostly in Fund 8, as you know, is mostly salaries.
Yeah.
Right now, Mr. Edwardson are dealing with the issues with the state budgets. Because of the restart transmission and the best of 1 or 2 happening in the middle of restart transmission happened. There are some budgets that they took money from that local had to pay some money back. So what I shared with Mr. Edwards, what I do is I had spreadsheets where I look at who's paid out of what budget, calculate their salaries, and that's where I place them in the budgets.
Right.
Then in that way, regardless of how the money come in, beginning of the school year, when he do long sheets, put those people in those budgets. So, but if you got any money left in Fund 1, then you can pay it back. Don't be swapping off through the school year,
Right.
because that creates
Confusion.
exactly.
Right.
So, and that's what we did here. We looked at, so the first one is you'll see what's in those budgets. You got your CTE director, no, not CTE, curriculum,
What page you on?
the first one.
Okay.
Is the district-wide curriculum, what's that title, Dr. Carpenter?
What number is it?
The first line item.
Oh,
okay,
Mrs. Robinson,
Oh, district coordinator of instructional
Right.
service.
that's first
Okay.
their salary. Then you had to federal programs. I talked with Dr. Robinson because I had a concern as why all her salary was coming out of local funds.
Right.
And she's a federal,
Right.
overall federal. So
Right.
I talked with her about 75%, at least 75% of her salary coming out of federal, 25% coming out of local. So
Right.
that's what I did here. And if I can figure out how to get some of that for this school year, we can refund local back.
The problem is, we don't know where we're gonna be at as far as federal funding.
True.
So I feel like we need to budget, I'm saying this budget for the worst, I guess.
Well, we already at the
It's worse.
worst case scenario
It's worse
now
now.
It's gonna
with,
be worse, worse than.
just doing 25% of her salary.
Mhm.
Because in Fund 2, you have the district-wide instruction coordinator, you have 25% of the federal program director, you have the finance officer, you have the EC director, you got the maintenance supervisor, you have the, right,
Absolutely.
And they're coming out of what now?
this is Fund 8. That's the special funds. Okay, so that's that particular PRC, and that's at 601,000 overall with benefits and everything. Okay, so then when you go to the next one, which is non-instructional personnel, which is your clerical, we budgeted 2 salaries in there because state cannot sustain them. So
these are
we
people
split
we
it.
already had.
Mhm.
No additional staff.
No additional staff, no. These are people already employed now.
Okay.
Okay, so that budget is $149,366.
Wait a minute, now, Ms.
The second page,
Page two.
PRC 003,
Okay.
okay? Then you have your instructional support, which consists of the nurses.
Mhm.
You don't get 100,000 anymore, you get how much, Mr. Futurelli? You know right off the top of your head for
What
the
was
nurse, the nurses grant.
School Nurse Fund Initiative, SNFI. I think it just funds 2.
They don't fund 100%, it's never funded 100% of their salary.
Okay,
So we had to build funds in there, so
I can figure out what the SNFI
is it
is.
65,000? I think it's
sounds
65,000.
about right.
Is that what
25,000.
So,
the health services? Is that-
so this is not even funding, this is covering some of their salary. Because 65,000 ain't gonna be enough.
Right. We need 86.
So there was some money out there one time where the state was given, because they wanted additional nurses in schools. Are we still getting any of those funds? I'm not sure what the PRC was, or what pot.
Now, this comes through the state, but through the health department.
Right.
Right.
And this is the one. It was 65,000 this year, and I might have messed up. I may not have should have put it in this budget. I think I should have put it in Fund 2. I think I got it in 2 spots.
Because there was some money from the state that they were giving for additional nurses.
No, we've never got anything for additional, unless it was through, since, I don't know about last year after I left, but before I left now. And so this particular 007, we may be able to board that money, because I think I put it in Fund 2. Because the grant come through Fund 8. So this may be a little safe haven, that 86,000.
86,000.
Is it gonna say, health services as well?
Yes, in Fund 2, yes, in PRC 007. I think I put it in both.
Okay, so that's 86,000 to the good, right?
Right, uh-huh.
Okay. I don't see it. You there, it's on page 3.
No, she looking at Fund 2.
Oh. Let me look. Take a look.
And then, of course, your classified staff, they get longevity, so you have to build that in as well. And then I saw where you had money in PRC transportation in Fund 8. If you say take that out, we can take that out and just have it in Fund 2.
What kind of transportation?
School bus transportation. You got it in both budgets. You got it in PRC 056 and Fund 2 and Fund 8.
You can take trans- what were we looking for, the health services?
Uh-huh,
Yeah,
I think it's in Fund 2.
I didn't see it.
I don't see it.
I don't see it at all.
Let me see.
And health services on page 3.
Page 3?
Oh, Fund 2?
No.
Mm-mm,
That's
it's on-
not-
That's the Fund 8.
That's 8.
Oh, okay.
You looking for, it said it was in both of them.
It's, I thought it was in both, I must have didn't print that page.
So we don't have the 80 something.
I don't see it. It's not here.
I don't have it in Fund 2.
Okay.
It should be in Fund 2 because you have a, your school social worker funds out of Fund 2, so that's what I.
What about the psychologist? It's $90-some thousand. And I thought when we met with the, at our law conference, they said that there were some other things that we could use that line
I
item for.
contact, Jennifer Bennett at DPI in reference to the school psychology funds, because I thought those funds, because I heard on your board meeting, you asked if those funds could be converted to something else.
Right.
Years past, you could. Jennifer said this year they could not be transferred. They fixed it where you could not transfer those funds any other way because they just want you to focus on school psychology.
But there is you can't find them.
Right,
It's a
right.
need across the
Well,
state.
it's just like I was talking to Mr. Petrell yesterday about AIG funds.
Right.
We got AIG funds. I can't move it. We can't move anyway.
Right.
We can't, yeah, you can't convert it because I was trying to use it to help offset negatives, but you can't convert it. So if you don't use it, it goes back.
I thought for sure at that law conference, they told us that we would be able to have some leeway with that psychology.
She said it used to be, and I asked her because I told her I overheard it on a board meeting and I said, I went in to try to do the conversion to move it and it won't let me do it.
But that was this school year. That was, when did we go to about last year, October? That was this school year.
I did, it was,
They
what
told us
month
that.
again, May? I think I called her in April, March or April, I called
Okay,
Jennifer to ask her that
so
question.
that just sits there.
Mhm.
Can I ask a question?
Well,
And we in Fund 2?
we're in
No,
eight,
So you
it's
never come to 2 yet?
No,
but it's not into the.
I gotta fix it, but it needs to be into,
So we're gonna
So
take
is
it out.
money there into the four?
no,
Well, I see something in 2 that might need to be looked at.
okay, we'll get there. So I'm asking, can I develop this PRC, and since you got it in Fund 2 and Fund 8, transportation, do you need them in both budgets?
Where is it? Where is it? Tell me where it is.
The
Page one.
for the salary for transportation, for bus drivers. You got them in Fund 8 and Fund 2.
Well, what,
It's the last one for Fund 8. It's the very last page. Fund 8 is $13,000.
Is that preschool?
No,
No, that's for
Okay.
all bus drivers.
yeah, that's, I guess it's just regular transportation. I don't know why it was in there.
Yeah, I don't know, which I know, eight is preschool.
Preschool, I got it in the Fund
Got
2.
that stuff, okay.
okay, so this is just everybody else other than the preschool, right?
This is just, I guess, just extra money that was, I don't know why it was budgeted in Fund 8. I don't know. It was budgeted this school year, so I just kept it. And I was gonna ask the question, since it's in Fund 2, do we need it in Fund 2 and Fund 8?
We don't need it in both, so that's 13, it's the same amount, we have it in Fund 2?
It's more in Fund 2.
Okay.
We can delete that one.
Delete 13, 840, 89.
And then we can also delete,
Okay.
07.
Oh, seven.
So
The
we deleted-
86,000. Delete that one.
You gonna delete that one? I thought you
Yeah,
said
I
you didn't
don't-
have it,
It's gonna have to go in Fund 2.
but just delete it out of Fund
Fund
8.
8,
what you're saying.
correct. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
86,044,14.
The whole 86,000, yes.
Fund
ma'am.
8.
So.
Fund 2.
You wanna put it?
You over there listening?
Come get ready to get some buttons.
That's great. Yeah, they said the storm was coming this morning.
Wow.
My game is over.
No, no, come forward.
86.
Yes, sir. So
Yeah,
just
Okay.
that's
phone.
right, that's what we need to be.
Mhm. I'm gonna delete on the last page, the 13,000.
So that's 99,885, 3 cents.
So that brings it down to 755,000. 327, 372,03. And the only thing about that is, I don't know what indirect cost is. And it may not be, you need 500 and some $1,000 once I find out how much indirect cost we can get.
And you talking from all the federal programs?
Yes,
Well, Dr. Robinson should have that, because in the grant, it's written how much the direct cost is and.
but each percentage is different.
Right,
For an
right.
example, PRC 017, I added it in that when I met with Ms. Davis. And because she had some things in the 6,000 purpose code, it reduces your percentage
Indirect
of
cost.
indirect cost because that's considered an admin cost.
Gotcha.
And the same thing with Title I, if we end up putting some of the federal program director salary in there, it's gonna reduce the percentage.
Gotcha,
But in a little bit helps.
exactly. But we need to know all of those.
So, if you can give me, not next week, because I won't be here next week.
Okay.
Give me until sometime the following week. Because I'm gonna try to meet with her. I think she'll be back tomorrow, right? I'm gonna try to meet with her tomorrow and dedicate some time with her tomorrow to go over all her federal programs unless she has something else that's pressing.
So
And
we won't have this for our meeting,
no,
18th, okay.
no, because I need to talk to Ms. Garner too about her budget. She told me what to do, but I need to think about it because I didn't get with it the other day. But
Okay,
this will give you some ideas, and then if you go home and look at it, and you see something else that can be streamlined, that'll give us time to fix it before it's final approval.
okay.
Is that okay with it?
That's good.
Okay,
Yeah, that's good.
all right, so let's look at Fund 2.
Okay.
That's a big one,
Yes,
yeah.
I see.
This is my copy, you keep your copy. No, I didn't.
And just looking at this, and I know that right now, when I looked at it, for 113. That position.
That's what I was.
Okay, wait a minute. So right now, Fund 2, based on, and that's before I left out this 07, is $1,078,386.32 short.
1 million.
1 million.
I can't even count that hard.
1,078,078, 386.32.
I'm behind. 1 million, too many commas. 1
It's too
million.
many.
1 million,
Uh-huh,
comma,
I got it.
078,
078,
comma, 386.32.
Oh, my goodness.
Right now, estimating revenues to be about 2 million, little over 2.1 million. So the very first thing is, we talked about last week, the teachers at the early college.
Yes.
We have to put them in local because it's not enough funds. So they have to be in local.
They've always been in local, right?
Where they started out this year state.
Okay,
And when I saw that state was on the next, I told the CLP needs to change it. So,
okay.
so that's a budget that's gotta be cleaned up.
I have a question. When you were here, before that, you had them.
Local, yes, especially when the other schools became restart, yes.
Right, right.
Yes,
I remember that.
right.
State, but now they can switch back over to that.
You unplugged when you left. So yes, so we switched them back because you need all those teacher positions for restart.
You in state.
Yes,
But do we need all those teaching positions?
and that was gonna be my question,
Right, especially with our numbers.
because you have at the high school, over there, you got 2 math teachers, you got English teacher, you got a social studies teacher, and you got a second science teacher, right?
Right,
And that's not including CTE because that comes out of other funds.
correct. So we need a math teacher over at the high school, right?
Yes, we do. We need 2 English teachers. We do have a science teacher.
Okay,
We have,
Yes, we do. And but we need a math teacher.
okay. If we got 2 at the RV, can't one move over?
That's a
Sure.
possibility. We do 50% at one and 50% at the other.
are we maximizing on that though? Are we using like, I know before, and in some districts, they are teaching, so they're giving up their planning, we're paying, we've done that here in our
Yeah.
district before, especially with science.
We'll definitely look at that before we purchase Elevate.
Right. And also if they do, their schedules, align their schedules, like the English teacher at RVET can be teaching simultaneously at the high school. It'll be the same as Elevate, but
Right.
it will be in-house and like paid as Elevate. Same thing with math, same thing with science.
Yeah, we don't look into all of those.
Yeah,
And even do a certification where you
Right.
find a math science teacher.
right,
And that'll
Right.
cut down on positions because of the numbers.
right, right. Anywhere we can save, because Elevate is very expensive.
And if we're gonna have, I prefer to have a teacher in there with the students versus a screen.
So I made a notation that possibly moving 1 math teacher from early college to high school. So I'll just get with you, Dr. Carpenter, to see with that.
And that will save, right?
Yes, that would say, that would cut that 190,000 down, yes.
Whole lot more to go, okay.
Okay, and the next one, 002, is that the one you was gonna talk about, Mr. Future?
It was the 113, yeah.
Okay, we'll
yeah.
get to that.
We've absorbed that with other,
You jump ahead
personnel.
of me, wait a minute, time out.
What's that?
We ain't got that yet.
Oh,
Yes, we are 002, yes, we are, okay.
yeah.
So
yeah.
you're saying that position is
Yeah,
gonna be,
with salary, benefits and retirement, it's like 82,700.
so that's gonna be deleted.
Well,
So my question would be then, will there be any additional salaries paid if you absorb it?
No, but we do know we might have to look at some additional services for TIMS. But the 056 state will allow you to pay.
Contract
for
services,
Contract
yes.
services.
We've
for
done that
TIMS.
before.
So
But
it
this,
would be local.
this position wasn't, absorbed by the school, the board did not say to do with the position.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
well, I guess.
Not
yeah,
yet.
I guess.
Right.
That's a question, that's a question mark.
Yeah.
We have to vote on that,
Okay,
because it was created prior to.
By the board.
By the
Right.
board.
So we have to say, so that.
okay, okay, so that's an option,
Yeah.
That's an option.
okay. And then you see everything else that's in local 002 that could not fit into state 002, the second page.
we need to look at 113.
Which
The
one?
second 113, well, the one below the, transportation.
Okay.
Information service.
So I'll put a question mark there and the board would direct us on what to do with that.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay. Got a question mark there.
okay,
So we'll wait on direction from the board before we can finalize that.
okay.
Okay. And then when you look at the non-instruction, this is your non-instruction personnel,
You on page what,
3.
3? Okay,
And we had to add in substitute pay because we're paying teachers out of local. And then we have the maintenance and one clerical position. Yeah, one clerical position that couldn't fit in state level.
now all these zero budget, zero out, what,
That's where this year we had to move folks out of state 003.
mhm,
And we're not gonna budget them here, hopefully, if they don't cut the state budget. We left some wiggle room in some of the state budget, like some of these people were coming out of low wealth.
mhm,
And when low wealth got cut, we had to refund low wealth some money back.
mhm.
And so if they don't cut low wealth next school year, then the salaries will be good.
Okay, now, out of this $105,000, what comes out of that?
You have you got one full-time, one person is 75% employed, and then you got one part-time person, the hourly pay person. Because the other person comes out of ESSER. And that ends in September of next school year, right? So then,
We're gonna be short,
No, we have to make a decision.
yeah.
right,
We need
because
to
I did not
make a decision now.
calculate them in this budget.
Okay,
I did not calculate that ESSER position in this budget.
what position was that for?
Maintenance.
Put a question mark beside that, we're gonna discuss that next week.
I just put ESSER beside that.
Okay, all
ESSER
right.
position.
But you'll have it funded through ESSA all of next fiscal year, right?
If it ends September of 24,
You'll have it all.
okay, next
That's a
year, yes.
part-time position.
Right, no,
Mhm.
it's.
No, that's the
No,
full-time,
full-time.
that's a full-time position, so yeah, you do it for next year.
Okay.
Fully funded
Yeah.
for next year, yes.
Yes,
Okay, so we fully
yeah,
funded.
I'm
it.
thinking
Yeah.
this is 24.
So you don't have to really act on that.
To
So why
next
we
year.
got it over here?
It's not over here, you have, the ESSER person is not in this
It's
budget.
not in this. Okay.
That's only
The
one
full-time.
full-time, a 75% employed, and then a part-time person. The ESSER person is a full-time person. Yes, he's a
Okay, so it's a full-time, a 75, and then a part-time.
part-time, right,
That's in
Okay.
that one.
That's in the 105.
105, yes.
Okay, still put that question mark there, because,
We still
probably
need to discuss it.
that, but that can, we need some of that. I do believe.
Okay. And then in the 005, I did build in that assistant principal that was in the proposed budget. And then, the
Now,
next page 4.
let me say
Sorry,
this.
just tell me to slow down.
Now,
Onions.
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 I was sniffing.
Oh, you lifted up.
It's not easy.
I didn't say it was easy. On this principle, now, we were told on April 20th by Dr. Williams that there was gonna be a special pot of money from DPI for this assistant principal position at the middle school.
And we were not gonna have to pay.
And we were not gonna have to pay for it. Now, that's what we were told.
I think that is true.
Okay, I have to find out, I don't know, okay. I would make a note to check on that.
Yeah, I told you about it last week at the meeting. I think Tiffany mentioned it for you to check on.
No, the only thing she said was, make sure we had an assistant
Uh-huh,
principal.
that's
She
what I
didn't tell
said.
me anything about the funding.
Yeah, it's a
Right, that's what I'm
funding.
saying.
Okay,
That's what he
uh-huh.
said. That's why
Uh-huh.
you got it up here.
Okay, I
Yeah.
check state funding.
But check the GPI, because they promised us that
Yeah.
position.
Okay.
That they had.
I
some
get that
special
name
funding.
from you, Dr. Carpenter, and we can call to check on
And
that.
that'll be what, that amount, right?
Yes,
Okay.
if they give us the funding, yes.
Okay.
So what is this here? And I'm back on page 3. Here where it says as Kim was asked, Ms. Robinson was asking about all of the zeros. And then,
These are, we had to move some staff members that was in maybe low wealth or state 003 when the budget got cut in between that transition of Restart and Vestal 1 or 2. It knocked some budgets out of whack.
so let me ask this technician position right here,
Mhm.
is that the position that's, we have two that are vacant?
No,
Right? It was
it's-
support, and then it was another,
It was actually his salary, we had to move him to local because low wealth funds got cut.
okay,
So
okay,
local had to
Okay.
pick the salary up.
okay.
But I'm hoping next school year, Mr. Edwards will be able to keep that position in low wealth if the funding does not get cut.
So the two vacant technology positions, where's that?
Is that, was that coming out of ESSA funds?
Yeah.
I don't,
That's
The
essence.
ITF position,
they were coming out of
It
ESSA
was-
funds.
One is,
the other technology position, no.
right. That's good.
Just one of them.
That, I think
So
the other one's
facilitator.
supposed to come out,
Facilitator,
yeah.
yes.
What's
other
that?
The other one's supposed to came out of low wealth, and I didn't know nothing about that one, so I need to make a notation on that.
Okay.
That's,
Okay.
But we're gonna have some funds left over from the facilitator position. What we doing with it?
That's essence. You talking about,
Right.
instructional?
Mm-hmm. We got all these months worth of salary that's gonna free up that money out of
In
there.
essence.
Right.
So that one and one of the district instruction facilitators will not need for next year.
so is that 3 or 2?
That's two.
Two.
Okay, so the 2 I was talking about,
Okay.
okay.
Moving forward. You get your answers? Okay.
Okay,
So it's
so
an
we're gonna
85
have
pound.
5 now.
We on page 5.
Yes, ma'am. We talked about on page 4, we talked
Okay,
about,
yeah, we
I gotta
talked
check
about
into
that
the assistant principal.
Gotcha.
Page
Okay,
5
we're
is
page
just a
five.
non-contributor for none of, all of those classified positions, that gets longevity.
Gotcha.
That's what that is. So if we cut a position in Fund 2, then it get cut in this position.
Gotcha.
And I may get my hand smacked on this one, Mr. Teacher. I cut the AIG and local, the funding, because you had 37,000 budget for this school year, and you've only used $250.
But the state doesn't give us enough money to fund that whole
But
salary.
that position is not paid out of AIG funding.
None of it is paid out?
So what's supposed to be paid out of?
It's coming out of Fund 8.
But I know, but what is this money for?
This money was budgeted when I was here because the AIG teacher at that time, the salary was more than what the state gave us.
Uh-huh.
So we had to put more funds in local.
This salary, this person now is not.
Right, the
Gotcha.
person now is AIG MTSS,
Gotcha.
and they're paid as a coordinator, not as a certified teacher.
Gotcha. So we didn't need supplies this year?
And I put, there still have state funds left, and we gotta figure out how to spend now.
We can spend with that.
Or experiences, we can do there's some summer camp money.
Exactly.
There's
So that's why I
field
reduced
trips
it.
for those students.
So that's why I reduced the local to 5,000 because of the position that person is in now.
Right, we can do some college field trips.
Right.
There was no need to put it
AIG
that much money.
You can,
Yeah,
she
do a
can
field
do,
account.
she can do an AIG summer camp.
Yes, that is the plan.
Okay, is it?
Yes,
Okay.
build in right along with some of the other programming that's happening.
Awesome, that'd be great. Okay, let me write that down.
So you're okay with just having 5,000 in the local part?
You did that this time?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you have your wonderful charter school.
I'm not even gonna look at it no more.
Okay, so we're just gonna flip the page then, how about
Yeah,
that?
let's go. And that's the future, we didn't get updates on that, we never do for AIG.
Okay,
Yeah,
All right.
board meetings.
I'll get some, updates.
I can't go back.
Oh, she went back.
I went back.
That number is big.
That number is just.
And I'm hoping it won't be, now that I'm learning that you're bringing your 5th graders back to the
Right.
elementary school, so maybe they'll stay another year.
Right.
And then I also learned that they're getting ready to change their hours. They getting out now at 4 o'clock, but next school year, they're gonna get out even earlier next year.
I
And a
love
lot
it.
of parents are using charter schools
As the baby.
for as the daycare.
Right.
So, right.
Well, we need to be doing a push. Yeah, we need doing an after-school push. We need a grant for after-school. We've had one before.
We need to be knocking on
We
doors.
need to be knocking on doors this summer. And teachers need to be knocking on
We
doors, the
did that
principals,
too, because I was
Yeah.
with them.
on the school bus. So especially new teachers that we just hired this year, so they'll know, get acclimated to our community and where their students are coming from, where they go.
And we used to do that.
Especially when we had a lot of, those, what do they call? Yeah, those, Teach for America. We did that when we had Teach for America, but we need to do it for our local, because they're not, a lot of them are not from
Yeah.
here.
And we used to do that, and we'll get on the bus and take a.
That would be great. We need to do a big push. I know we did one earlier this semester, but going to the homes is really different. It's a different feel.
Yeah, they did that one year, right, at the, almost at the end.
I need this number reduced by half.
And see, they got smart, I think, looking at Mr. Edwards' bill, they bill for 9 months. And they used to bill for 12 months, now they bill for 9 months.
So they did
And they-
more.
they
more
overbill.
check.
Right, they overbill though too.
Oh, they do.
Oh, yeah,
Cause they know kids are
Yeah.
coming back.
they overbill.
All right.
All right, this is the local transportation I was sharing with you. There's money allocated for your pre-K bus monitors.
Okay.
You went too fast. Pre-K bus monitors. And then you have extra money just in case your state funds run out with transportation.
So how many monitors? is there?
3,
Is it 3?
is it 3 or 4?
I thought it was 4.
It
I don't
was
know whether they
more
reduced it.
than, one of them with part-time. So it's definitely three, all the time. One of them is sporadic.
So do we need to also look at, I know one time we had, talked with whoever at the State Department, and they were able to tell us like the max for our bus drivers. Are we still, like, what, I'm interested in knowing what is the max right now?
Is that in our allotment?
No, they did not get
Yeah.
transportation. They didn't get state transportation allotment.
Okay.
So you want to know what the state salary maximum is?
Mhm.
Okay.
For our bus drivers, because I know at that time they said that's what they would reimburse us based on,
Mhm.
so if it was $20 an hour, they would give us that 20.
Okay. I wrote it up to see if we can cost money transportation and find that out.
Okay.
But then the 1,500 is for if there are field trips.
Okay.
Payroll can pay it out of that line, because sometimes the reimbursement doesn't come back in within the same month that the field trip took place. We'll put it back in that line.
Well, I'm gonna read it on this too.
It's probably a reimbursement, it was probably reimbursement, it was reimbursed more than what we spent there.
Okay,
The line, the money came in and put it in that line, and it should, all of it should have went in that line.
gotcha.
Yeah. And then the next one is your plant operation, which includes the light bill, water bill, gas bill, property insurance, car insurance.
I see.
What's that?
So we can't do nothing. Yeah, all the
Yeah.
stuff we need.
Making me call for it?
Yeah.
Right.
Things, and this is one of the ones I did cut, Ms. K. Robinson, because
What page?
page 10.
Okay, I just turned. it.
Because I cut some of the expenditures, because I looked at the year-to-date, for an example, the elementary electric costs.
Right.
They've only spent $30,000, and you only really got about 2 more months left.
Right.
So some of these line items I did cut, looking at the expenditures to date.
That's good. Okay.
Didn't touch the property insurance.
We got airport problem.
And then we got the-
Yeah,
some
we
of the
can go with-
transportation, so kind of looked at what has been spent today. And as I shared with Mr. Petrell, just trying to, and Mr. Edwards, getting him in a habit of meeting with directors so they can monitor what they have, how much they got left, so they can stay within their budgets and to reduce the number of amendments that needs to be done during
Right.
the school. Absolutely.
Cleanup.
Especially in-house.
Right.
Amendment.
Did you reduce cleaning? 802? I don't know, 32?
It was two different lines.
Right.
So I left that at 57,000 where it was originally budgeted 60,000.
Okay.
And they've spent 49,000, so I left it at 57,000. I saw where some was spent, 4,400 was spent down at the bottom.
Gotcha.
And I think it was just a purpose code difference there.
Okay.
So, reduced our overall budget from 560,000 to 515,000.
Okay.
Ms. Campbell, this 49 for the property insurance, does that include Andy Jackson?
You know, Andrew Jackson, they only gave us a limit, and I think the limit was it 5,000, was it 10,000, the cap? Because they were only 5,000, but you remember after that second fire, at first they did not want to cover the building at all.
They sure did.
And then I told, we convinced him to give us something on the building, so I think it's 5,000 for that building.
Okay.
He should have came in and he came in and did assessment. You haven't gotten the bill from property insurance yet? Cause that's normally due at the end of April,
Yeah, I have.
but you hadn't paid it yet.
No.
Okay, we need to get that paid this week, because you don't want that insurance to lapse.
Are there, late fees associated with it?
No, it's not, no. At least I hope not. It better not be, or I'm gonna take it back, I'm just joking.
There's a case.
So why do we only spend we haven't paid?
Have not paid it.
Okay,
It just
okay.
said it's in,
Okay,
so
okay.
I'm gonna make sure it get paid this week.
My mind is moving with this story.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, then we have the board and superintendent, and I'm gonna slide down towards, Mr. Evans, you slide down a little bit, cause I'm gonna slide down, cause I'm gonna ask for some of this to be cut back some.
Yeah, y'all just gonna slide in the hall.
Well, I'm looking,
We all got the cut, we all got the.
right, and that's right there at $282,000.
Where's that at?
That's the total budget.
Where?
On the end.
On the end.
I
Page
was
11.
number 10. Okay.
Just looking at some of the expenditures like contracted services, I did cut that down to 20,000. Legal fees was at 70,000, right now you spent 53,000.
And it's getting ready to go up.
Yeah, we're probably gonna need to add
It's
some.
getting
more
ready
money
to
for
go
this.
up again.
Why?
Why? Cause they go up every year.
Oh, yeah,
And the contract is back up. It's getting ready to go back up.
And then
Go up.
for,
And every time every time that they are contacted, that's a fee, right?
Yes,
but it has been money well spent. I'm sure, because we need the support, the legal support. And also, we're
I
talking
wonder
about,
if somebody else contact them about us, and we gotta pay for that too?
But it's all, from when I talk, well, it's only when it comes from a board member or someone from the school system that calls them. Text, email, everything, and 10, after 6 minutes, it's prorated up to 6 minutes, and then it continues on. But each 6 minutes is X number of dollars.
Well, I was asking, like, if somebody out, DPI contacts them about us, do we have to pay them? For that.
I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
so,
You look at the contract.
It's only when it comes from this end.
Okay.
so also, we're talking about cutting, and I know, and I totally get it, we do need to cut in some in areas. But with us, the training that we're gonna be getting from DPI, that's gonna be an
It's
extra.
not definite yet, but that's be $7,500 plus the travel.
Mhm.
is that something that's gotta be added?
Not to this one. This is for next year.
This was for next year.
Right.
Well, do we have it left for this year? No.
But we talking about,
No, because you already in the hole
We're in the
now.
hole right now, yeah, you gotta be added for this year, right? Mr. Williams?
For this year,
Uh-huh.
they won't start probably until it may be June or July.
We'll still be in June, we'll still be in this
In
budget
this
year.
year,
But July, it'll be in this year,
just in 23, 24.
okay,
So I'm just waiting to hear back from them.
So
okay.
do you want to leave it at the 60,000 for now? Or do you want to put it in another line just to be, just that way there knows it comes directly out of that particular line? Because you can do one that says workshop, DPI, and then put an amount there.
That's North Carolina School Board Association, right?
Right.
Right, you can
Okay.
put North Carolina School Board.
DPI stuff.
We don't have to, everything DPI is free, right? That's okay.
And DTI,
Mhm.
that the one where Allison Schaefer, that would be free.
Yeah, right,
Okay.
uh-huh.
So how much do you need to put for the North Carolina School Board Association?
7,500, right? Or plus travel.
75. I would put
10,000?
10,000.
You gotta pay them travel.
Yeah, because like you did say, if you worked out some things, it could be possibly a little cheaper, but I guess it's best to go over it.
When I talked to her, she come promise me that. She said she'll get back with me.
Okay.
So can I take it from the board workshop line and reduce that to 50,000?
Yeah, that's right. That's what it is. You understand anything in advertising?
And I think a lot of that's been coming out of, improving teacher quality. They have some there if they did in advertising. Are we good? Move to the next page.
Oh, I thought you said you were taking something from me.
I took it from the 60,000. I wrote a note down at the bottom on my copy.
You ain't tell us.
I'm sorry. I thought you said yes.
I did, but I didn't know that was
But
what
it's
you were
not gonna,
taking.
yeah, it's not gonna change the
That's
overall
what I
amount.
thought.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you really didn't take one. But we, what we gonna do about in this hole right here?
Right, right.
We in the hole right now with,
I'm working with Mr. Edwards on that, trying to figure out how we're gonna fix that. He may be bringing some budget amendments to the board next week,
Okay.
requesting to use some fund balance to take care of some negative line items.
okay.
I know we're almost through, not almost through, but travel. And we talked about us as a board is for traveling, but we skipped over a whole lot of other travel in here. And I
Yeah.
think that travel needs to be cut across the entire district,
I agree.
district-wide.
I ain't
Brought it
got,
up
we ain't
at
got to no trouble. Yeah.
That was
I'm not
brought
in
up-
this-
that was
No,
brought up in the board meeting.
it was just started, it just starts at 8:41, yeah. It just started at 8:40.
Okay.
Because the other was mostly salaries. The other earlier budgets are mostly salaries.
So, and some of the salaries, I know I stepped down, I'm not asking to go back, but I think that as a district, we also need to look at risks. We did that some years ago, probably like in 2015 or so, 16. And I think that we definitely need to, well, not definitely, we need to look at risk in some positions.
And look at what we're gonna, like, we'll go for attrition too.
Right.
Yes.
If you have, and I think I had this conversation with Dr. Carpenter. Let's just say you have a teacher, looking at your class sizes, and as I shared last week, because you're a restart, there's really no class size cap. A principal may want that teacher, but if curriculum sees that teacher is not needed, then don't fill that position, maximize what you already have
Right.
in the classroom. Because ADM dropping every year,
Every year. Every year.
And
If
with
we get
ADM
numbers up,
dropping,
money drop.
your allotment drops, the money going down, not only just with the state, but it's going down with the county as well.
That's right.
And it's too late now to RIF because, especially with certified staff, because you had to have it done by a certain date. And I don't know about classified. What's the time frame with that?
Classified, they at will.
30
Yeah,
days.
that will,
They at
yeah.
will, so, yeah. All right, so what page we going on now?
Page 12. And you can let me know what do you want to cut there.
This, 332, what travel is it for?
On the rental.
I can't answer that question, I don't know.
What is it?
I don't know if it's someone going to just a one-day workshop or, because I don't know, I don't think you're paying any monthly travel. So I don't know if it's a person that's going somewhere and then,
Well, so far, only $54 is taken out of it,
Right.
44,000 was allotted for it this year.
you want to cut it to 5?
Well, you cut it to 1,000.
Right.
I just don't know what it is.
I
I
don't know,
would
that's
cut
what
it
I'm
in
saying,
half.
that's my
Cut it
question.
So
to
we'll
five?
spend $100 this time. I can't see us spending 1,000.
Yeah,
What's under contracted services?
That's garage, a whole lot of stuff.
Because we are way over.
Yes, you're way over there too.
What in the world?
I see what you mean.
Who's that membership dues and fees?
That's all the membership dues within the district, the school board association, the lobbyists, it's the, I'm trying to think of the ones. The, you know, you have the school board association charge you for a lobbyist.
Oh, they do.
Uh-huh. Then it's one where for the policies and they have a lot of ones they build at the beginning of every school year.
See them lobbying for us. I don't know about that. Okay. I see you cut supplies and materials.
Yes.
Supplements, nothing.
I don't know why that was paid when I came here, and I don't know what that is. And it this probably the wrong PRC to pay it out of, but there's no one board there. I mean, you make it go back later just to clean it up and make it look better.
Was that a presenter we had? Seemed like I remember
No,
55.
I think this was for a salary. So I think it was just paid out of the wrong code. So I just need to get Mr. Ellis to search to see who it was and move it to the correct code.
Let's see on this one, because workers' comp, you can't change anything.
Well, workers' comp, you can change, that's why I reduced it. The buck of workers' comp can come out of federal program.
Right.
If you paying salaries out of workers' comp, out of federal, then majority of that can come out of federal. So that's something we need to look into, and I think you checked into a couple of those, right? Yes. And we just got to refund local back.
What are we renting?
That's your copy machines, your postage machines. It's on a rental agreement, the copy machines, yeah.
So the telecommunications network.
Come on. ITS, that's ITS, right? Yeah, that's the state. Uh-huh.
Okay, that is-
New phone
okay.
system.
All right. Okay. You good?
And the audit.
Right now, you only paid 15,000.
And we don't need to pay any more because they're done. Pay for what you're gonna do.
Right.
That need to be negotiated.
Well, this is for the upcoming school year, so we'll be back with, not Barrington, Dale, yeah, Dale and them, so this is, yeah. So that's,
And I think Dr. Covington, Mr. Evans is scheduled to talk with the auditor soon,
which one?
the current one.
Right.
Yeah.
Has the, local government commission been contacted? Because they're listed on the local government commission. That means that they are insured by the local government commission. So you need to make sure they are contacted.
Number 13.
Oh, page 13. I was-
With the coaches supplement.
Is that included in here?
I just did an estimate, because I haven't seen I don't know what's in the contracts and what the amounts are, so I just looked at what was paid and kind of put a little bit on, because I don't know, didn't know.
Should be
By
in the
next
minutes. Yeah, we approved it when,
We approved it, but you're talking about, the contracts that each coach has to sign.
Just sit
That
there,
would
know
determine
how much money,
how
right?
much money we have to pay them on it, on what we,
Have a
what
group.
made
Right.
it, made it approved.
but she needs to have that sheet so she'll know as well, because they do contracts.
Yeah, but she said she didn't have it.
I didn't have
She said she just used it.
Miss, Privet should have it, I do believe, right?
It would be
Yeah, she
her,
She does contracts.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, you should get it from Miss Privet, they'll be able to give you a better gauge
Okay.
of what you need to put in there.
Mhm.
You probably have enough.
and I guess for that company, Coach Saab,
Yeah,
who's gonna be working.
right.
Has he turned that in to you, Mr. Future?
Not yet.
Reach out.
The workshop expenses, that the one, the coaches clinic that they
Yes.
have every year.
Mhm.
Catastrophic insurance.
Gotta have it.
Yeah, you gotta have that.
Supplies.
Now, some of those supplies we bought this year, you
Okay.
might wanna reach out to Mr. Lynch,
Okay.
because some things are in this year's budget, and we won't have to have it for next year. Because it's not gonna be already purchased, like the weight room, the gator, the water things, I don't know what they call.
Has
So can you work with me on that,
You got
Mr.
it.
Futrell?
So
Yeah,
that
okay.
shouldn't have to be as high, because we did it.
Has the gator been purchased?
Today.
What was purchased today? Okay.
Drive.
Field, about,
Move coolers and stuff like that.
yeah.
First aid and stuff.
Yes, since because that was the largest purchase, I do believe, was the gate.
And that came out, well, yeah, that came out of athletics, but the other
Exactly.
equipment, like the jump pit, the hurdles and the weight.
We haven't
room
got it
came
yet.
out of capital outlay.
Outlay.
Right, and we've gotten all.
We got all of that,
Yes.
so this definitely can come in. But he'll give what else we need, I know we have to have the helmets
Refurbished.
refreshing or whatever, yeah, for football, I know we have to have that, we might need a few new ones. But that's all I think is big, unless we have to do some uniforms or something, but we just bought uniforms and. Yeah. So. It might not be as much as what we have, right? We bought, new uniforms for middle school too. Mhm. We got new uniforms.
And I'll reach out to see what his coaching supplements look like for next year. Should be comparable to
Right,
this year,
right.
and within addition to the steps that. we
Right,
were
right.
part of.
But a lot of them are still new at that first,
Yeah,
first
0 to
step,
3.
right. We on page 14?
Yes.
Okay.
Dr. Carpenter, are you good with accountability there? Mr. Edwards, are you good with finance on 15?
Are those workshops for teachers?
Which ones?
That $3,000 I see in, 844.
It could be for teachers, it could be for,
HR department?
No, for the testing department.
yes, yes.
Do we need any, workshop for testing? to
Yeah.
help them?
Yeah, they have to travel to their monthly meetings.
Okay,
Every
okay.
month,
But this will cover.
and that covers them.
We have some teachers that may need to come and utilize some things this summer that we offer. Especially in the math, science.
We're looking at that.
Okay.
845 cover mostly, accounts payable and payroll for their travel, workshop, training.
And they're gone, I see that.
Right, that's for the finance officer, yes.
Gotcha.
And then this is personnel. And I think they have like 2 conferences per year they have to attend. And then you have your graduation. Of course, you're still in the hole, but the revenues and
How much are we still? We didn't take anything out, did we?
not really, no. And one of the things I want you to consider, to think about when we get ready to finalize this. Lately, you've been doing a lot of recognition, individual recognition, and I think I talked to Mr. Futrell about it. In the past, when you did a teacher, the schools will recognize counselors, they recognize their nurses, the schools will do that.
Right.
But I've been seeing
With their
since I did
funds.
that, central office, it's been doing.
Well, I don't know how it changed, but where is that coming from in the budget?
It's coming out, it's been coming out of local, am I correct, Ms. Fisher?
I believe so.
Yeah, so that needs to go back on the school.
Because a lot of times doing Teacher Appreciation Week, everybody got something.
Yes.
And in the past, Dr. Carpenter attest here, like at the central office, what we did for administrative day, the directors would get together to recognize the administrators.
Right. That's what it's.
So either put it back on the schools for those individual, like transportation, counselors, nurses, all those, right. Or designate a certain amount within the budget and be fair across the board for everybody.
I agree.
So if you say you're gonna do, whatever you do, just be fair with everybody.
Okay.
If you're not gonna put it back in the school.
Right.
Because one group may get more than the other group, and it's still this group than it is of that group.
Right.
Just have some consistency on what you're doing.
And I think, it should go back to the schools, but with the employees that retired, remember, we would bring them to the board meeting and give them a plaque. This year, we're doing a banquet, I think.
Yes, Thursday.
But yeah, that's what we used to do in the past, is just give them a plaque and recognize them at the board meeting.
Yeah, those expenses definitely need to go back to the school.
Because that'll cut out some of, is this person get more than that person? You only have 2 nurses, but you got 4 guidance counselors, you got 1 social worker, so is everybody being treated fairly?
Right.
And that's what I was saying about the retirement dinner that's coming up. But this. But that's all, as you know.
But like she said,
Treat
something for us
everybody
to
the
think
same,
about.
yeah,
For this budget.
every
For the
year.
budget, yeah.
Any other suggestions you have? Can you write them down for us? That's the
I
only way
will.
we're gonna remember
I
and
will.
make sure it happens.
Mr. Fisher, please remind me.
Yes, ma'am.
So I go back through here with Mr. Edwards, whatever we cut, we'll redo the sheets.
Can you have those so they stand out, like in a different color?
We'll
So
highlight
that
it.
we'll know.
It won't be next week.
Right.
But we'll work on it and try to figure out, once we find out for sure about the teacher, then we know what we need to do there. But what will really help, if they can finalize their audit, so you'll know what your fund balance is, and then you'll know if you can use any more fund balance. Because you don't have $1 million that you can use in fund balance.
And also, I think another thing that's gonna help us is finding out the final decision with the state as far as the other monies.
So if there was something else, if I can't get it to balance, if it's something we gotta cut, I'll let you know. This was cut even more because it's needed to redo this.
Right. Yes. But you would have to do it.
And with that, you asked me 2 things last week I was supposed to bring back to you. I need my expense folder now. No, the other one, yeah. No, Mr. Williams will do that. It's pertaining to the budget. You wanted to know, I think, Ms. K. Robinson, you asked me the letter for when the county wanted the budget.
Yes.
It was dated February 14th. Not sure what date it got here, but it was dated February 14th, and they asked for it March 6th.
Okay, so it was supposed to be to the county March 6th.
Yes. They said, please submit your budget request for current and capital expenditure to county manager office by Monday, March 6th.
So we're about 2 months out.
And they didn't write the letter to the 14th, and I'm not sure what they, with the mail, you don't know when you got it. I did follow up with Dear Denton on the May 15th date. She said she don't know what that is. She said that there's nothing they needed by May 15th. She said the only thing that's left is what Mr. Williams added to the agenda was the supplemental tax rate. She said that was the only other piece that she knew anything about. She said she don't know anything that's due to them by May 15th.
I think we probably going by dates in the past, but we didn't know about that letter. Do you have a copy for me?
No, I didn't, but I can get a copy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I said there was.
Yeah, that May 15th came from, Attorney Real.
Why?
So, but I asked her, and she said that she didn't know of anything that was due by May 15th to the county commissioner.
That's what she told me, and she said the only thing we need to do is the sales tax, all we do is finish the budget. Any more questions about the budget?
I also asked you for the letter from GPI regarding finance.
I don't know anything about that one.
That was sent without the rules.
So y'all don't have it.
I don't have it.
Can you request that?
Or what?
The letter regarding the finance officer from GPI? So we'll have it for next week's meeting.
It's been requested 2 or 3 times.
But did you request it, Ms. A?
We'll make 7 copies. And then that
Okay, nothing else about the budget. We go to sales tax. Our sales tax rate is at 20%. It's already at the maximum. So the only thing we need to do is make a motion to accept the 20% tax, because nothing else can be done. It had to be a referendum in order for it to be changed. And she said that is the only thing that she needs right now.
I make a motion that we approve the sales tax at the 20%.
Mhm.
Second.
It's been motioned by Ms. Mary Robinson, and second by Ms. Kim Robinson, that we submit 20% tax rate for the 23-24 school year. Are there any questions? All in favor, aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Motion for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Ms. Hale made a motion to adjourn, and Ms. Mary Robinson seconded the motion to adjourn. Are there any questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Meeting adjourned at 7:14. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. So who took minutes?
He did.